Across the globe, from sprawling metropolises to quiet corners of ancient lands, stand structures that have borne witness to the passage of centuries. Cathedrals are not only some of the most striking architectural wonders of religious history, but also of global history. But what makes them truly remarkable? Let's step inside and uncover the stories they hold. Our journey begins in the Galicia region of northwestern Spain, in the city of Santiago de Compostela, home to the magnificent cathedral that bears its name. For over 1,000 years, this grand edifice has served as the destination for pilgrims traversing the famed Camino de Santiago, a network of ancient routes stretching across Europe. The cathedral is believed to hold the remains of St. James the Apostle, making it one of the three most important pilgrimage sites in the Christian world, alongside Rome and Jerusalem. Construction of the present cathedral began in 1075 under the reign of King Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile, and continued for several centuries. The Romanesque structure, with later Gothic, Renaissance and Baroque additions, was consecrated in 1211. The main facade, the Obradoiro, is a Baroque masterpiece featuring ornate sculptures and intricate details. Inside, the cathedral retains much of its original Romanesque charm, with its massive nave, sturdy columns and semicircular arches. A key highlight is the Portico de la Gloria, a stunning Romanesque entrance crafted by Master Matteo in the 12th century. This intricate sculptural work portrays Christ in majesty surrounded by apostles and biblical figures, symbolizing salvation. The Botafumeiro, one of the world's largest incense burners, is another breathtaking feature. Suspended from the cathedral's ceiling, this massive censer swings across the nave during special services, filling the air with incense and captivating onlookers with its dramatic movement. Every year on July 25th, the Feast of St. James is celebrated with grand religious ceremonies, fireworks and cultural festivities. Our next destination takes us across the Atlantic to the vibrant nation of Brazil, where amidst the lush greenery stands the Basilica of Aparecida, a beacon of faith for millions. The origins of the basilica date back to 1717, when three fishermen found a dark-coloured statue of the Virgin Mary in the Paraíba River. After discovering the statue, the men experienced an abundance of fish, which they interpreted as a divine sign. The statue, later named Our Lady of Aparecida, quickly became an object of veneration, leading to growing devotion and the eventual construction of chapels and churches in her honour. Construction of the current grand structure began in 1955 and was completed in 1980. The Basilica of Aparecida is an architectural marvel designed in the Romanesque Revival style. Covering 194,000 square feet or 18,000 square metres, it can accommodate up to 45,000 people inside. The basilica is notable for its massive dome, towering at 230 feet or 70 metres in height, and its grand tower, which reached 358 feet or 109 metres. One of the most striking features is the 394 feet or 120-metre-long nave, adorned with beautiful murals and stained glass windows that depict religious scenes. The interior is lavishly decorated with mosaics, intricate tilework and sculptures that enhance the spiritual ambience of the sanctuary. The Basilica of Aparecida is the second largest Catholic church in the world, surpassed only by St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. We travel now to Ulm, Germany, where the Ulm Minster pierces the sky. The construction of Ulm Minster began in 1377 during the late Middle Ages. Due to financial and political difficulties, the church was finally completed in 1890, more than 500 years after its foundation stone was laid. It was initially a Roman Catholic church, but during the Reformation in the 16th century, it became a Protestant church, which it remains today. Ulm Minster is best known for its impressive spire with a height of 528 feet or 161 metres. It remains the tallest of any church worldwide. Visitors who climb the 768 steps to the top are rewarded with breathtaking panoramic views of Ulm, and on clear days, even the distant Alps. Inside the nave is one of the largest in any Gothic church, and the stunning ribbed vaults create an overwhelming sense of verticality. The magnificent stained glass windows add to the church's grandeur. Some of them date back to the 15th century and depict biblical scenes in vivid colours and intricate detail. These windows survived the bombing of Ulm during World War II, which damaged much of the surrounding city but left the minster largely intact. Next we are visiting Valencia, Spain, where the Valencia Cathedral awaits. This magnificent structure blends various architectural styles and holds the Holy Grail. Built on a Roman temple site, it was later a mosque during Moorish rule. When King James I of Aragon recaptured Valencia from the Moors in 1238, he consecrated the mosque as a Christian church. Shortly thereafter, construction of the current cathedral began, blending Romanesque, Gothic and Baroque architectural styles over several centuries. A stunning example of Gothic architecture, the Apostles' Gate, is known for hosting the Tribunal de las Aguas, an ancient water court that still meets weekly. The iconic bell tower El Miguelete, completed in the 15th century, stands 167 feet or 51 meters high, and offers panoramic views of Valencia. Inside, the high altar is adorned with exquisite frescoes from the Renaissance period, rediscovered in 2004 after being covered for centuries. One of the cathedral's most treasured artifacts is the Holy Chalice, displayed in the Chapel of the Holy Grail. This revered relic is a cup made of agate stone, believed to be the vessel used by Jesus Christ during the Last Supper. While many chalices claim to be the Holy Grail, the Valencia chalice has one of the strongest historical claims, having been traced back through centuries of documentation and papal recognition. Now we are heading to the ancient city of Salisbury. The history of Salisbury Cathedral dates back to the early 13th century. The construction began in 1220, commenced under the direction of Bishop Richard Poore. The main body of the cathedral, including the nave, transepts and choir, was consecrated in 1258. One of the most significant later additions to the cathedral was its towering spire, which was constructed between 1320 and 1330. At 404 feet, or 123 metres, the spire remains the tallest in Britain and a defining feature of Salisbury's skyline. The exterior of Salisbury Cathedral is a masterpiece of early English Gothic style. Its symmetry and harmony are striking, with pointed arches, ribbed vaults and flying buttresses that not only add beauty but also structural stability. The west front is adorned with over 130 medieval statues depicting saints, apostles and angels, each intricately carved. Upon entering the cathedral, visitors are greeted by a vast light-filled nave supported by slender columns and pointed arches. The purity of the design and the natural light streaming through the clerestory windows create a serene ambience. One of the cathedral's most remarkable features is its chapter house, home to one of the best-preserved original copies of the Magna Carta, a foundational document of English law and governance signed in 1215. Today, Salisbury Cathedral stands as a masterpiece of Gothic architecture and a beacon of historical and spiritual significance. Situated in the historic city of León, the León Cathedral, officially known as the Cathedral of Santa Maria de Regla, is one of Spain's most celebrated Gothic masterpieces. The origins of the cathedral can be traced back to the 10th century when the site housed Roman baths, later converted into a royal palace. The current Gothic cathedral, however, began to take shape in the 13th century, modelled after the great cathedrals of France, particularly Reims and Chartres. Construction began in 1205 and extended over several centuries, with significant contributions from various architects and craftsmen. Despite delays and structural challenges, the cathedral was completed by the early 16th century. The exterior of Leon Cathedral is a visual symphony of Gothic elements. Its twin towers rise majestically above the city, with the southern tower slightly taller than its northern counterpart. The west facade is particularly striking, with its grand rose window and 3 elaborately decorated portals. The central portal, known as the Portal of the Virgin, showcases delicate sculptures of the Virgin Mary and scenes from her life. The interior is both serene and breathtakingly beautiful. The cathedral's vast nave is flanked by towering columns and pointed arches, creating a sense of grandeur and upward movement. One of the cathedral's most celebrated features is its collection of stained glass windows, considered among the finest in Europe. Dating from the 13th to the 15th centuries, these windows cover an impressive area of over 19,375 square feet, or 1,800 square meters. The high altar is a masterpiece of Renaissance art, adorned with gilded details and intricate carvings. As part of the Camino de Santiago, Leon Cathedral is a significant stop for pilgrims traveling to the shrine of St. James in Santiago de Compostela. The Washington National Cathedral stands as a striking testament to architectural grandeur, spiritual significance, and national unity. The idea for the cathedral was first proposed in 1792, during President George Washington's tenure, as part of Pierre L'Enfant's original plans for the nation's capital. However, it wasn't until 1907 that construction began, with President Theodore Roosevelt presiding over the ceremonial laying of the cornerstone. The cathedral was constructed in the Gothic Revival style, inspired by medieval European cathedrals, and took 83 years to complete. Its facade features intricate carvings, flying buttresses, and tall spires that reach toward the heavens. The central tower, the Gloria in Excelsis Tower, is the tallest point in Washington, D.C., rising 301 feet or 92 meters above ground. Gargoyles and grotesques adorn the exterior, some with whimsical designs, such as the famous Darth Vader gargoyle, added after a children's competition in the 1980s. The west facade boasts a large rose window, a hallmark of Gothic architecture, which floods the interior with colourful light. Stepping inside, the soaring vaulted ceilings, pointed arches and intricate stained glass windows create a sense of awe. Among the 231 stained glass windows, the space window stands out, containing a small moon rock brought back by the Apollo 11 mission. The nave is vast and majestic, stretching 91 feet or 28 meters high, with rows of carved wooden pews and graceful stone columns. The Washington National Cathedral is the 6th largest cathedral in the world and the 2nd largest in the United States. The Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, located in Sofia, Bulgaria, is one of the largest and most iconic Orthodox cathedrals in the world. The construction of the cathedral was initiated to commemorate the Russian and Bulgarian soldiers who lost their lives during the Russo-Turkish War, a conflict that led to Bulgaria's liberation from Ottoman rule. The foundation stone was laid in 1882, but actual construction began in 1904. The cathedral was completed in 1912. The cathedral showcases the Neo-Byzantine architectural style, a hallmark of Orthodox Christian church design in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The cathedral is capped by a series of gilded and green domes, with the largest central dome standing at 148 feet or 45 meters high, and adorned with gold. The bell tower rises to a height of 174 feet or 53 meters and houses 12 bells, the heaviest of which weighs over 12 tons. The facade is a stunning blend of white and yellow limestone, decorated with intricate mosaics and carvings. Inside the walls are adorned with vivid frescoes and icons painted by Bulgarian, Russian and European artists. A stunning iconostasis separates the sanctuary from the nave. Crafted from marble, onyx and alabaster, it features exquisite religious icons and detailed carvings. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral is more than just a place of worship. It is a monument to Bulgaria's history, culture and spiritual devotion. The Cathedral of Our Lady, located in the vibrant city of Antwerp, Belgium, is a stunning example of Gothic architecture and a significant landmark in the country's history and culture. It has a history that spans more than 7 centuries, making it one of the most iconic religious structures in Europe. Work on the cathedral began in 1352 and continued for nearly 170 years. The exterior is a masterpiece of Gothic design, showcasing intricate details and towering heights. The cathedral's most prominent feature is its 404 feet or 123 meters tall spire, which dominates Antwerp's skyline. It is the tallest church tower in the Benelux region. This spire, completed in 1518, features elaborate carvings and an openwork design that enhances its visual impact. The facade features a series of pointed arches, flying buttresses, and intricately carved statues of biblical figures and saints. The craftsmanship on the portal and rose windows is particularly remarkable. Inside, the soaring ribbed vaults, supported by slender columns, create a sense of verticality and lightness, emphasizing the Gothic ideal of reaching toward the heavens. The stained glass windows depict biblical scenes and saints, flooding the interior with vibrant colours and ethereal light. The impressive pipe organ, crafted in the 19th century, adds to the spiritual ambience of the space. Napoleon Bonaparte admired the cathedral and declared it a national treasure, sparing it from destruction during French rule. The Cathedral of Santa Maria Assunta, commonly known as the Pisa Cathedral, is a stunning example of medieval Romanesque architecture located in the famous Piazza dei Miracoli in Pisa, Italy. The cathedral was founded in 1064 by architect Buscetto, who sought to combine classical, Byzantine and Islamic influences into a unique Romanesque style. The initial construction was completed by 1118, with further additions continuing into the 13th century. The facade features alternating bands of white and grey marble with touches of colourful marble and stone. The symmetrical design is enhanced by rows of blind arches, columns and finely carved reliefs. The cathedral's elliptical dome is an architectural innovation for its time, emphasising the blending of styles that defines the building. The nearby Leaning Tower of Pisa serves as the cathedral's bell tower, further enhancing its fame. The cathedral's interior consists of a wide nave and 4 aisles, separated by Corinthian columns made of granite and marble. The ceiling is adorned with intricate gold detailing and features the Medici coat of arms. One of the most significant features is the marble pulpit by Giovanni Pisano, crafted between 1302 and 1310. This masterpiece depicts scenes from the New Testament in exquisite detail, showcasing Pisano's talent for dynamic, expressive sculpture. While the Leaning Tower often overshadows the cathedral in fame, the two structures are intrinsically linked as parts of the Piazza dei Miracoli complex. The Mexico City Metropolitan Cathedral is one of the most iconic landmarks in Latin America. It is not only the largest in the Americas, but also a symbol of Mexico's rich history, blending indigenous, colonial and modern influences. Construction of the cathedral began in 1573 on the site of the former Aztec Templo Mayor, which was demolished following the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. The cathedral was built to assert Spanish dominance and introduce Christianity to the New World. It took nearly 250 years to complete, with the final touches added in 1813. Due to the long construction period, The cathedral reflects a variety of architectural styles, including Renaissance, Baroque and Neoclassical. It is flanked by two majestic bell towers, each standing 220 feet or 67 meters tall. These towers house 25 bells, some of which are among the largest in the world. The facade features elaborate carvings of saints, angels and religious symbols, showcasing the Baroque style. The cathedral houses 16 chapels, each dedicated to a different saint or religious figure. Many of these chapels feature ornate altarpieces, gilded woodwork and intricate sculptures. The main altar, known as the Altar de los Reyes, or Altar of the Kings, is a dazzling Baroque masterpiece designed by Geronimo de Balbas. It is covered in gold leaf and features statues of saints and kings. The cathedral boasts two massive pipe organs built in the 18th century. These organs are masterpieces of craftsmanship and continue to be used for special ceremonies and concerts. The cathedral, like much of Mexico City, was built on the soft, unstable soil of a former lakebed. Over the centuries, it has slowly sunk into the ground. Extensive restoration and stabilization efforts, particularly in the late 20th century, have saved it from collapse. The Cathédrale Saint-Étienne de Bourges, commonly known as Bourges Cathedral, is a masterpiece of Gothic architecture and one of France's most historically significant churches. The history of the cathedral is closely tied to the rise of the Gothic architectural movement and the city's importance as a religious and cultural hub in medieval France. The construction of the current Gothic structure began in 1195 and was largely completed by 1230, though decorative and structural work continued into the 14th century. The west facade is characterized by its 5 intricately decorated portals, each adorned with detailed sculptures depicting biblical scenes, including the Last Judgment. The cathedral's 2 towers rise majestically, though they are asymmetrical due to the incomplete construction of the south tower. The innovative use of flying buttresses allowed for the construction of high walls and large stained glass windows, creating a light-filled interior. The cathedral features a vast nave flanked by double aisles, creating an expansive and airy space. It is renowned for its collection of stained glass windows dating from the 12th to the 14th centuries. These windows depict biblical stories, saints, and scenes of daily medieval life, showcasing the artistry and storytelling of the time. A 15th century astronomical clock, located within the cathedral, is an engineering marvel that once helped regulate religious ceremonies and town life. Bourges Cathedral served as a model for later Gothic cathedrals, influencing designs across Europe. York Minster is one of the most magnificent Gothic cathedrals in the world. Located in York, England, it is a masterpiece of medieval craftsmanship and serves as a spiritual and historical centre for the region. The history of York Minster spans centuries, with its origins rooted in the early days of Christianity in Britain. The construction of the present cathedral began in 1220 and took over 250 years to complete, with the final touches added in 1472. It was designed to rival the great cathedrals of Europe, blending early English, decorated and perpendicular Gothic styles. The western facade is adorned with intricate carvings, statues and pointed arches, showcasing the finest craftsmanship of the Gothic era. The large Great West Window, known as the Heart of Yorkshire, is a striking feature with its unique tracery. York Minster's central tower stands at 235 feet or 72 metres, making it the tallest structure in York. The twin bell towers on the west end house the Minster's famous bells. Inside, the nave's vaulted ceiling, with its ribbed design, creates an awe-inspiring sense of height and light. The nave is lined with slender columns and intricately carved capitals. The Great East Window, completed in 1408, is the largest expanse of medieval stained glass in the world. Designed by John Thornton, it depicts biblical scenes from Genesis to Revelation. The octagonal chapter house is a highlight of the interior, featuring a vaulted ceiling and an array of stained glass windows. Its richly carved stone seats and tracery make it a marvel of medieval design. Beneath the minster lies an extensive undercroft, where visitors can explore the remains of Roman, Viking and Norman structures. Located on the picturesque island of Mallorca overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, La Seu, the Cathedral of Santa Maria of Palma, is one of Spain's most iconic and breathtaking Gothic cathedrals. Construction of the cathedral began in 1229, shortly after King James I of Aragon conquered Mallorca from the Moors. Legend has it that during a fierce storm on his voyage to the island, the king vowed to build a magnificent church in honor of the Virgin Mary if he survived. Like many medieval cathedrals, La Seu took several centuries to complete. The main construction was finished in 1601, although renovations and additions continued well into the 20th century. The cathedral is 397 feet or 121 metres long, 180 feet or 55 metres wide, and 144 feet or 44 metres tall, making it one of Europe's tallest Gothic structures. The cathedral's intricate flying buttresses and pinnacles are classic features of Gothic architecture, supporting the tall structure while adding decorative beauty. The main entrance features ornate carvings and sculptures that depict biblical scenes and saints. The Great Rose Window, located above the main entrance, is one of the largest in the world, with a diameter of nearly 43 feet or 13 metres. Known as the Eye of the Gothic, it features vibrant stained glass that casts dazzling colours onto the interior walls. Inside, the soaring vaulted ceilings are supported by slender columns, creating a sense of height and grandeur. The design emphasizes verticality, drawing the eye heavenward. The cathedral's 61 stained glass windows, including the Great Rose Window, bathe the interior in kaleidoscopic light. In the early 20th century, Antoni Gaudí, the famed architect of Barcelona's Sagrada Familia, was invited to oversee renovations. Although his plans were not fully realized, his influence remains evident in elements like the interior lighting and altar designs. We continue to Córdoba, Spain, where a remarkable structure dominates the skyline. The Córdoba Cathedral, also known as the Mosque Cathedral of Córdoba, stands as one of the most iconic and historically rich landmarks in the world. The origins of the cathedral date back to 785 CE. Originally built as a mosque, it became a spiritual and cultural centre of the Muslim world in Spain. In 1236, during the Reconquista, King Ferdinand III of Castile captured Córdoba and converted the mosque into a Catholic church. The Córdoba Cathedral is a masterpiece of mixed styles, combining elements of Islamic, Gothic, Renaissance and Baroque architecture. The original prayer hall of the mosque is an expansive space supported by over 850 columns made of jasper, onyx, marble and granite. These columns are crowned by the iconic double-tiered arches that enhance the illusion of infinite depth. The mosque's original mihrab, or prayer niche, is a dazzling focal point. Decorated with gold mosaics gifted by the Byzantine emperor, it showcases the artistic exchange between the Islamic and Byzantine worlds. The 16th century Christian additions include a soaring nave and a dome. While they break the continuity of the original design, they feature intricate woodwork and stained glass that exemplify Renaissance and Baroque aesthetics. Once the minaret of the mosque, the tower was transformed into a Christian bell tower after the Reconquista. At 177 feet or 54 meters tall, it offers stunning views of Córdoba and the Guadalquivir River. The cathedral story is a vivid testament to the city's multicultural heritage, blending Islamic and Christian traditions in a way that few other structures can rival. Our journey now takes us north, where the ancient city of Aachen, Germany, plays host to another architectural marvel. Aachen Cathedral, known as the Imperial Cathedral or Kaiserdom, was founded by Charlemagne, the king of the Franks and later the First Holy Roman Emperor in the late 8th century, around 796 CE. For nearly 600 years, from 936 to 1531, the cathedral was the site of the coronation of 30 German kings and 12 queens. This role cemented its status as a symbol of the Holy Roman Empire's power and continuity. Aachen Cathedral is a fascinating blend of Carolingian, Gothic and Baroque architectural styles, reflecting the influences of different eras and rulers. The centerpiece of the cathedral is the Palatine Chapel. Inspired by Byzantine designs, particularly the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, it is one of the best preserved examples of Carolingian architecture. The chapel is built around a central octagonal core, symbolizing renewal and eternity. The cupola, adorned with a dazzling mosaic of Christ in Majesty, exudes the grandeur of early medieval religious art. The Gothic-style choir hall, added in the 14th century, contrasts sharply with the Carolingian core. Towering, intricately detailed windows flood the space with colourful light, illustrating biblical scenes and saints. The pointed arches and ribbed vaulting of the choir hall emphasize height and grandeur. In 1978, Aachen Cathedral was one of the first 12 sites to be designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognizing its outstanding historical and cultural importance. We travel now to the ancient city of Prague, nestled within the heart of Czechia. Here, located within the sprawling Prague castle, stands an iconic masterpiece, St. Vitus Cathedral. The origins of the cathedral date back to 930 CE, when Prince Wenceslaus built a Romanesque rotunda on the site in honor of St. Vitus, a Christian martyr. Construction of the current Gothic cathedral began in 1344, when Charles IV, King of Bohemia and Holy Roman Emperor, elevated the Prague bishopric to an archbishopric. It wasn't until the late 19th and early 20th centuries that St. Vitus was finally completed in 1929, coinciding with the millennial anniversary of Wenceslaus's death. The cathedral is a masterpiece of Gothic design, with later influences of Baroque, Renaissance and Neo-Gothic styles reflecting its long construction history. The western facade, completed in the 20th century, showcases a blend of Gothic and Neo-Gothic styles. Rising to a height of 269 feet or 82 meters, the twin towers are adorned with ornate spires symbolizing the cathedral's heavenly reach. A stunning rose window above the main entrance depicts biblical scenes, casting colorful light into the interior. The south tower, towering at 314 feet or 96 meters, offers breathtaking views of Prague. It houses the Sigismund Bell, the largest bell in the Czechia, weighing over 16 tons. Inside the cathedral, the net-patterned ribbed ceilings are a hallmark of Gothic ingenuity, combining aesthetic beauty with structural innovation. Stained glass windows flood the interior with vibrant light. The most famous is the Alphonse Mucha window, a masterpiece of Art Nouveau, depicting scenes from Czech history and legends. We are headed now across the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean to the continent of South America, where we find ourselves in Lima, the vibrant capital of Peru. Here, amidst the bustling city, stands the Basilica Cathedral de Lima, a testament to the enduring legacy of Spanish colonialism. The first version of the cathedral, a modest structure of adobe and wood, was completed in 1540. Throughout history, it has faced destruction from earthquakes, with major ones occurring in 1687 and 1746. Each time it was rebuilt or restored, adapting new architectural influences and preserving its grandeur. The cathedral's facade is a striking blend of Renaissance and Baroque elements. It has three grand portals, with the central one known as the Puerta del Perdón, or Door of Forgiveness, adorned with intricate carvings. Two neoclassical towers, capped with bell-shaped domes, frame the facade, creating an iconic silhouette. The cathedral's interior is equally breathtaking. Elegant, ribbed, vaulting ceilings adds a sense of vertical grandeur. Elaborately decorated altars, many gilded with gold, are dedicated to saints and religious figures. The high altar, a focal point of the cathedral, is richly decorated with silver and gold, reflecting the wealth and devotion of colonial Lima. It houses a statue of Our Lady of the Assumption, the patroness of the cathedral. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, the cathedral is an architectural masterpiece and a repository of history, blending colonial splendor with enduring cultural significance. Our journey now brings us to the banks of the River Thames, to the City of London, where the iconic dome of St. Paul's Cathedral dominates the skyline. The most significant predecessor to the current cathedral was the old St. Paul's Cathedral, constructed in 1087 during the Norman period. In 1666, the Great Fire of London destroyed the old cathedral, along with much of the city. Its destruction paved the way for the construction of a new cathedral designed to be a masterpiece of modern architecture. Sir Christopher Wren, one of Britain's greatest architects, was tasked with designing the new St. Paul's Cathedral. Construction began in 1675, and the cathedral was completed in 1710, a remarkable feat given its scale and complexity. The Dome of St. Paul's is its most recognizable feature. Inspired by St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, it is one of the largest in the world, standing at 365 feet or 111 meters tall. The interior is richly decorated with mosaics depicting biblical scenes, particularly in the dome. The nave, with its soaring arches and intricate stonework, creates a sense of awe and grandeur. The high altar, rebuilt after World War II, it is adorned with a stunning marble and gilded design. The cathedral has been the site of significant state funerals, including those of Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher. Our visiting to remarkable houses of worship takes us north, to the rugged landscapes of Norway. Here, in the city of Trondheim, stands the Nidaros Cathedral, a testament to faith and history deeply intertwined with the legacy of the Vikings. The cathedral's origins date back to the 11th century, constructed upon the burial site of St. Olaf, the Viking king who brought Christianity to Norway. The cathedral is a stunning blend of Romanesque and Gothic styles, featuring intricate stonework, colourful stained glass and imposing spires. The west front is the cathedral's most iconic feature, adorned with detailed sculptures of biblical figures, saints and Norwegian kings. The large rose window at its centre is a masterpiece of Gothic artistry, casting radiant light into the cathedral's interior. Inside, the nave features soaring arches, ribbed vaulting and ornate stone carvings. Romanesque elements such as sturdy columns blend harmoniously with Gothic verticality, creating a sense of both strength and grace. The choir houses the high altar, built directly over St. Olaf's original burial site. This sacred area is the spiritual heart of the cathedral and a destination for pilgrims. The cathedral boasts one of the largest and most impressive organs in Norway, the Steinmeier organ, which is used for religious services and concerts. From the Middle Ages until today, Norwegian kings have been consecrated at Nidaros Cathedral, reinforcing its status as a symbol of Norwegian sovereignty. Our exploration of the world's cathedrals carries us to Ecuador, a land where the Andes Mountains meet the Amazon rainforest. Here, nestled in a valley surrounded by towering peaks, lies the city of Cuenca, home to the Catedral Nueva, a masterpiece of architectural fusion. The cornerstone of the Catedral Nueva was laid in 1885. The project, designed by German architect Juan Bautista Stieler, aimed to create a cathedral that blended European architectural styles with the local identity of Cuenca. The cathedral is a masterpiece of religious architecture, characterized by its blend of styles and imposing dimensions. The facade, crafted from pink marble, is a striking example of Romanesque Revival architecture. Its three massive entrance portals, adorned with intricate carvings, welcome visitors into the spiritual heart of Cuenca. The cathedral's three giant blue and white domes, covered in ceramic tiles, are its most iconic feature. The domes are one of the most photographed landmarks in Ecuador, often used as a symbol of the city. The interior is equally awe-inspiring. The nave features soaring columns, beautiful stained glass windows, and elaborate altars. The interplay of light and colour creates a serene, spiritual atmosphere. The high altar, made of Italian marble and gold leaf, is a focal point of the cathedral's interior. It is dedicated to the Virgin of the Immaculate Conception, the patroness of the cathedral. With a capacity of up to 9,000 people, the Cathedral Nueva is one of the largest cathedrals in Latin America. The Strasbourg Cathedral, or Cathédrale Notre-Dame de Strasbourg, is one of the most remarkable examples of Gothic architecture in Europe. Towering over the historic city of Strasbourg in France, this stunning cathedral has captivated visitors for centuries with its intricate design, soaring spire, and rich history. The construction of the cathedral began in 1015, starting with its crypt and Romanesque base. However, the transition to the Gothic style came later in 1190, influenced by the architectural trends of the time. The cathedral's western facade is one of its most iconic elements, adorned with thousands of intricately carved statues and reliefs. The detailed sculptures depict biblical scenes, saints, and allegorical figures, offering a rich tapestry of storytelling. The single spire, completed in 1439, is a marvel of medieval engineering. At 465 feet, or 142 meters tall, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 200 years. Its open-work design combines elegance with structural strength, symbolizing humanity's reach toward the heavens. Inside the cathedral lies the astronomical clock, an awe-inspiring piece of Renaissance engineering. Built in 1843, the clock is a mechanical marvel that displays celestial events, calculates the date of Easter, and features a daily procession of automatons representing the apostles. The Pillar of Angels, located near the clock, is a vertical sculpture depicting the Last Judgment. Its intricate carvings showcase the skill of medieval artisans. The cathedral's nave is a vast open space with towering columns and ribbed vaults that draw the eyes upward, creating a sense of divine elevation. The choir features elaborate wooden stalls and an ornate high altar. Local legend says that the devil was so impressed by the cathedral that he took refuge inside, creating the famous Devil's Wind, a swirling breeze often felt near the building. And so we return to Spain, to the sun-drenched city of Malaga, where a different kind of cathedral story awaits. This is the Cathedral of the Incarnation, or Catedral de la Encarnación, and is one of the most remarkable landmarks in southern Spain. Standing on the site of a former Almohad mosque, the construction of the present cathedral began in 1528. It spanned several centuries, from the early 16th century to the late 18th century, resulting in a mix of architectural styles. The cathedral was declared complete in 1782, even though one of its towers remained unfinished due to financial constraints. The cathedral's impressive main facade, designed in the 18th century, is a stunning example of Baroque architecture. Its intricate carvings, Corinthian columns, and statues of saints make it a focal point of the building. The cathedral's northern tower stands tall at 275 feet or 84 meters, making it one of the tallest structures in Andalusia. However, the southern tower remains incomplete, earning the cathedral its affectionate nickname La Manquita, or the One-Armed Lady. Despite its asymmetry, the single tower adds a unique charm to the building. The interior of Malaga Cathedral is a masterpiece of Renaissance and Baroque design. The soaring dome is an architectural marvel, flooding the interior with light and emphasizing the cathedral's grandeur. Crafted by Pedro de Mena, the wooden choir stalls are intricately carved and considered some of the finest in Spain. The richly adorned high altar features paintings by renowned Spanish artists, including Alonso Cano. According to local legend, the funds intended for the second tower were diverted to support Spain's aid to American colonies during their fight for independence, particularly to help the United States. Our next destination takes us north, to the enchanting city of Venice, a place where canals replace streets and gondolas glide silently through the water. Here, amidst the grandeur of Piazza San Marco, stands our final cathedral, St. Mark's Basilica. The story of St. Mark's Basilica begins with a relic, the body of St. Mark the Evangelist, the patron saint of Venice. According to legend, in 828 AD, two Venetian merchants smuggled St. Mark's remains out of Alexandria, Egypt, and brought them to Venice. The relics were placed in a church built on the site of the current basilica, establishing Venice's connection to the saint and its growing spiritual significance. The construction of the current cathedral began in 1063 and was completed in 1094. St. Mark's Basilica is one of the finest examples of Byzantine architecture in Western Europe. Its design features 5 massive domes inspired by the Church of the Holy Apostles in Constantinople. The facade is a breathtaking display of Venetian opulence. It features intricate mosaics depicting biblical stories, saints, and Venetian history, as well as marble columns and carvings brought from across the Mediterranean. The horses of St. Mark, believed to date back to classical antiquity, originally adorned the Hippodrome of Constantinople. They were brought to Venice after the Fourth Crusade and now stand in the Basilica's museum, with replicas placed on the facade. The Campanile di San Marco, the Basilica's bell tower, stands separate from the main structure. Originally built in the 9th century, it collapsed in 1902 and was rebuilt in its current form. Inside the cathedral, one of most remarkable features is its golden mosaics. These mosaics, crafted over centuries, depict biblical scenes, saints, and the life of Christ, illuminating the space with their shimmering beauty. The Palladoro, or the golden altarpiece, is an exquisite masterpiece of Byzantine goldsmithing. Decorated with precious stones and enamels, it was commissioned in the 10th century and expanded in later years. It serves as the basilica's high altar and is a symbol of Venice's wealth and artistic heritage. Unfortunately, due to Venice's sinking foundations and rising sea levels, St. Mark's Basilica is often affected by flooding, particularly during the high water season. Special barriers and restoration efforts aim to protect the basilica from further damage. In the rolling foothills of the Bavarian Alps lies an architectural gem, the pilgrimage church of Wies. The origins of the church trace back to 1738, when a wooden figure of the scourged Christ, created in the mid-18th century, allegedly began to exhibit miraculous properties. The statue, known as the Weeping Christ, was said to have shed real tears, leading to widespread reports of healing and other miraculous events. As word spread, pilgrims began flocking to the area to witness the statue and seek divine intervention. The pilgrimage church of Wies is a masterpiece of the Rococo style, characterized by its elaborate ornamentation, lightness, and playful use of color and form. It features a combination of stucco, frescoes, and gilding that creates a visually stunning environment meant to inspire a sense of divine presence. The church's exterior is relatively simple, with a plain white facade that contrasts with the exuberant interior. This contrast heightens the impact of the church's decoration when entering. The interior is where the Rococo style shines, displaying a wealth of stucco work and ceiling frescoes depicting heavenly scenes. The central fresco, known as the Glorification of the Scourged Saviour, illustrates the suffering and glorification of Christ, surrounded by angels and saints, with an overall sense of movement and light. The central altar houses the miraculous statue of the Scourged Saviour, adorned with gold leaf and surrounded by columns and ornate decorations. The altarpiece, along with the choir area and side chapels, continues the Rococo theme, with detailed stucco work and vivid frescoes. In recognition of its outstanding cultural and historical value, the Pilgrimage Church of Wies was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983. It was praised for being a masterpiece of creative genius and an excellent representation of Bavarian Rococo. Our pilgrimage now carries us far north, to the volcanic island nation of Iceland, where a starkly different, yet equally impressive structure dominates the skyline, Hallgrímskirkja. The idea for Hallgrímskirkja emerged in the early 20th century as part of a broader effort to establish a grand church in Reykjavik that would embody Iceland's cultural and religious identity. Construction began in 1945, but due to economic challenges and the scale of the project, it took over 4 decades to complete. Hallgrímskirkja's design is inspired by Iceland's volcanic landscape, particularly the basalt columns formed by cooling lava. The exterior of the church features a stepped concrete facade that mimics these natural rock formations, creating a dramatic appearance that is both rugged and elegant. The church stands at an impressive height of 244 feet or 75 meters, making it the tallest church in Iceland and one of the tallest buildings in the country. The central tower serves as an observation deck, offering panoramic views of Reykjavik and the surrounding area, including the distant mountains and the Atlantic Ocean. Inside the church, the design is relatively minimalist, in keeping with the modernist aesthetic. The vaulted ceiling and tall columns create an open, airy feel, directing the gaze upwards and evoking a sense of spiritual ascent. One of the church's most impressive features is the pipe organ, installed in 1992. Built by the German organ builder Johannes Kleis, it stands 49 feet or 15 meters tall, weighs 25 tons, and has 5,275 pipes. Hallgrímskirkja serves as a pilgrimage destination not only for religious visitors but also for those who appreciate art, history and architecture. We travel now to the city of Montreal, Canada. Here, amidst the urban landscape, stands one of Canada's most iconic religious and architectural landmarks, the Notre Dame Basilica. The current Notre Dame Basilica was commissioned in 1824, and Irish-American architect James O'Donnell was selected to design the new church. The church was completed in 1829, with the twin towers added later in 1843. The basilica is a prime example of Gothic Revival architecture, a style that gained popularity in the 19th century, emphasizing elements such as pointed arches, ribbed vaults and flying buttresses. The church's imposing facade features twin towers named Perseverance and Temperance, reaching a height of 226 feet or 69 meters. The exterior has a traditional Gothic look, with large pointed arches, detailed stone carvings and dramatic spires. The interior of the basilica is the true highlight, renowned for its lavish decoration and vibrant colours. The ceiling is painted a deep blue adorned with golden stars that create the illusion of a night sky. Richly coloured stained glass windows depict scenes from Montreal's religious history, rather than traditional biblical stories, providing a unique local context. The wooden carvings, intricate detailing and gilded decorations create a visual spectacle that captivates all who enter. The centerpiece of the basilica's interior is the grand altar, which features a combination of carved wood, gold leaf, and intricate detailing. Behind the altar, a massive and impressive altarpiece depicts various biblical figures and scenes. The sanctuary also has a central crucifix and statues of the Virgin Mary and other saints. Today, Notre Dame Basilica is an active place of worship and continues to hold regular masses, special services and events. It is also one of the most popular tourist attractions in Montreal, welcoming more than 1 million visitors each year. Our journey takes us now to Russia, to a place where the boundaries between myth and reality seem to blur. Deep in the Karelia region, nestled amidst a vast network of lakes and islands, lies Kiji Island. Here on this island, seemingly untouched by time, built in 1714, stands a testament to the ingenuity and artistry of Russian carpenters, the Church of the Transfiguration. The church was built entirely without the use of nails, a common feature in traditional Russian wooden architecture. Instead, Wooden logs were meticulously interlocked using a technique called log cornering, where the ends of the logs were carved to fit snugly together. The craftsmanship demonstrated in the Church of the Transfiguration is especially remarkable, given that the structure has stood for more than 300 years in the harsh climate of northern Russia. The church's design consists of 5 octagonal tiers that rise in a pyramid-like fashion, with the central dome reaching the highest point. This structure creates a balanced and symmetrical appearance, while the layered arrangement of domes adds a sense of movement and lightness to the overall design. The 22 domes of the church are one of its most distinctive features. The domes are covered with aspen shingles that turn a silvery grey colour as they weather over time, giving the church a unique appearance that changes with the light and seasons. The domes are arranged in a traditional Russian style, with one large central dome surrounded by smaller domes, symbolizing Christ and the Apostles. Inside the church, the main focal point is the iconostasis, a wooden screen adorned with religious icons that separates the nave from the sanctuary. It is a remarkable example of Russian religious art, consisting of 102 icons that are considered masterpieces of the 18th century. A popular legend associated with the church claims that the master builder who constructed it used only one axe, which he threw into Lake Onega upon completing the building, declaring that there would never be another structure like it. We are going now to the rugged landscapes of Norway, where the ancient and the natural world meet in perfect harmony. Nestled in the small village of Borgund, surrounded by lush valleys and towering mountains, stands the Borgund Stave Church. The church was built around 1180 during the height of the stave church building tradition in Norway, which flourished between the 11th and 13th centuries. Norway once had more than 1,000 stave churches, but today only 28 survive, with Borgund being one of the best preserved and most visited. The church is built using a traditional Norwegian technique known as stave construction, which involves placing vertical wooden posts or staves on a raised sill frame to form the building's skeleton. The walls consist of horizontal planks fitted between these staves, while the roof features multiple layers of wooden shingles. One of the most interesting features of Borgund Stave Church is its steeply pitched, multi-tiered roof, which includes a total of 4 roof levels. Each tier is decorated with wooden carvings, including dragon heads at the gable ends. These dragon heads resemble those found on Viking ships and are thought to be intended as protective symbols to ward off evil spirits and bad luck. The wooden carvings on the church are among its most captivating elements. Intricate designs depicting animals, foliage, and geometric patterns adorn the doorways, pillars, and capitals. The portals are especially noteworthy for their ornate decorations, which include intertwined serpents and dragons, harking back to the ancient Norse art styles. Inside, the church maintains a simple, dark, and mysterious atmosphere, illuminated only by narrow windows. The central nave, which is surrounded by tall staves that support the upper levels, gives a sense of height and verticality. There is no traditional altar screen. Instead, the church features a simple altar with a crucifix, reflecting the early medieval Christian worship practices. Though Borgund Stave Church is no longer used for regular worship services, it remains an important cultural and historical site in Norway. As a museum, it provides insight into medieval architecture, woodworking, and the transition from Norse paganism to Christianity in Scandinavia. In the plains of central Greece, nature itself seems to guide us towards the divine. Here, atop towering rock pillars, stand the monasteries of Meteora. The history of the Meteora monasteries dates back to the 11th century, when hermit monks first settled in the region. Seeking solitude and spiritual seclusion, the monks lived in caves and hollows in the sandstone cliffs, practicing asceticism and deepening their faith away from the distractions of the outside world. The first monasteries were built in the 14th century as a response to the growing need for protection from political and social turmoil. During this period, Greece faced frequent invasions, particularly from the Ottoman Turks, and the monks sought refuge in the more inaccessible heights of Meteora. Building these monasteries was an extraordinary feat, considering the steep and inaccessible terrain. The original methods of reaching the monasteries involved scaling ladders or being hoisted up in nets, while building materials were carried up piece by piece. Over time, narrow steps were carved into the rocks, and bridges were built to improve access. By the 16th century, the monastic community at Meteora had flourished, with a total of 24 monasteries built atop the rock formations. Today, only 6 of these monasteries remain active, having survived the passage of time, wars, and natural decay. These 6 monasteries have been meticulously maintained and are now listed as UNESCO World Heritage Sites, attracting visitors from around the world who come to admire their spiritual and historical significance. In the canyon of the Guaitara River in southern Colombia lies what is considered one of the most stunning churches in the world, the Las Lajas Sanctuary. According to local legend, in 1754, an indigenous woman named Maria Mueces de Quinones and her deaf-mute daughter Rosa were caught in a storm while traveling through the area. Seeking shelter in a cave, they witnessed an apparition of the Virgin Mary on a large stone slab inside the cave. To their astonishment, Rosa spoke for the first time in her life, declaring that the Virgin Mary had called to her. As the story of the miracle grew, pilgrims began flocking to the site, leading to the need for a chapel. The original structure was a simple shrine built in the late 18th century. The current neo-Gothic basilica was built between 1916 and 1949, funded by donations from the local community and pilgrims. The sanctuary's architecture reflects a neo-Gothic style characterized by pointed arches, ribbed vaults and tall spires. The facade features intricate stonework with carved details and pointed arches that give the church its castle-like appearance. The most unique aspects of the basilica is its location. The church is constructed on a 130 feet or 40 meters high bridge that spans the Guaitara River Gorge. The bridge not only serves as the foundation for the sanctuary but also symbolizes a connection between the earthly realm and the divine, reflecting the church's miraculous origins. The interior is as striking as its exterior, with stained glass windows that illuminate the church in vibrant colors. The high-vaulted ceilings, ornate altars and detailed sculptures contribute to the neo-Gothic atmosphere. The most sacred feature of Las Lajas is the image of Our Lady of Las Lajas, appearing on the rock face behind the altar. Unlike traditional art, it is part of the rock itself. Scientific studies reveal the pigments penetrate several feet into the stone, suggesting the image is embedded within it, adding to the site's mystery and miraculous nature. Often described as a fairy tale castle or the most beautiful church in the world, Las Lajas Sanctuary attracts both pilgrims and tourists who marvel at its beauty and seek to understand the miracles associated with it. Our quest for the world's most impressive churches takes us now to the highlands of Ethiopia, to a place where faith quite literally moves mountains. Here, in the ancient town of Lalibela, lies a testament to human ingenuity and spiritual devotion unlike any other, the Church of St. George. This stunning monolithic church, carved directly from solid volcanic rock in the shape of a cross, is the most famous of Lalibela's 11 medieval rock-hewn churches. The Church of St. George was built during the reign of King Lalibela in the late 12th to early 13th century. According to legend, the construction of the church involved divine intervention. It is said that angels helped the workers complete the structure, explaining the exceptional precision of its design. The exterior walls of the church are adorned with carved windows and cross-shaped reliefs. The interior is simple but deeply spiritual, featuring stone pillars and arches that support the structure. The trench surrounding the church is often filled with water during the rainy season, symbolizing the biblical River Jordan. This association with water plays a role in various religious rituals conducted at the site. The technique used to carve the Church of St. George is known as monolithic architecture. This involves carving a structure out of a single piece of stone, which requires incredible skill and precision. Unlike traditional construction methods, the church was not built brick by brick. Instead, it was sculpted out of the volcanic rock, making it a singular work of art. Ascending above the streets of Paris, we find ourselves at the summit of Montmartre, the highest point in the city. Here, like a beacon of white against the Parisian skyline, stands the Basilica of the Sacred Heart, or commonly known as Basilique du Sacré-Cœur. The history of the basilica is closely tied to France's tumultuous political and social climate in the 19th century. The idea to build the basilica emerged following the Franco-Prussian War of 1870–71 and the subsequent Paris Commune, a period of civil unrest. The basilica's foundation stone was laid in 1875, and construction continued through a series of political and financial challenges. The church was finally completed in 1914, just before the outbreak of World War I, but was not formally consecrated until 1919, after the war's conclusion. One of the most recognizable features of the basilica is its brilliant white appearance. This is due to the use of Château-Landon stone, a type of travertine that exudes calcite when it comes into contact with water, keeping the basilica white despite the pollution and weathering over the years. The main dome rises to a height of 272 feet, or 83 meters, providing a stunning contrast against the blue sky. The central dome is surrounded by several smaller domes, giving it a Byzantine character. The basilica's bell tower contains one of the world's heaviest bells, the Savoyard, weighing 19 tons. The interior features one of the largest mosaics in the world, Christ in Majesty, which covers the apse ceiling. Completed in 1923, this stunning work depicts Christ with outstretched arms, symbolizing divine love, with France represented as offering its heart to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. The devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus has deep roots in French Catholicism. The heart symbolizes Christ's divine love for humanity and his desire to bring people closer to God. The basilica's consecration to the Sacred Heart embodies France's desire for spiritual renewal following the turmoil of the 19th century. St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City is the largest church in the world, covering an area of 240,000 square feet or 22,300 square meters. It can accommodate more than 60,000 people, making it a monumental space for gatherings, especially during significant religious events. The history of the basilica dates back to early Christianity. The church is named after St. Peter, one of Jesus Christ's apostles, and considered the first pope by the Roman Catholic Church. Tradition holds that St. Peter was martyred in Rome around 64 AD during Emperor Nero's reign, and was buried at the site where the basilica now stands. The first church built on this site was known as Old St. Peter's Basilica, constructed under Emperor Constantine the Great in the early 4th century. However, by the 15th century, the original basilica had fallen into disrepair, prompting Pope Nicholas V to begin plans for a new, larger church that would properly honour St. Peter's legacy. The new St. Peter's Basilica was consecrated on November 18, 1626 by Pope Urban VIII. Since then, it has remained one of the most important churches in Christendom. The basilica is an architectural masterpiece that combines elements of Renaissance and Baroque styles. Its most prominent feature is its massive dome, designed by Michelangelo and completed by Giacomo della Porta after Michelangelo's death. It rises to a height of approximately 447 feet or 136 meters, making it one of the tallest domes in the world. The interior of the dome is adorned with mosaics depicting religious figures, and visitors can climb to the top for panoramic views of Rome. The grand facade, designed by Carlo Maderno, features Corinthian columns, large statues of Christ, John the Baptist and the Apostles, and a central balcony known as the Loggia of the Blessings. This balcony is used for the announcement of a new pope following a papal conclave. Designed by Bernini, St. Peter's Square is a massive, oval-shaped piazza in front of the basilica. The square is enclosed by a colonnade consisting of 284 columns arranged in 4 rows, symbolizing the church's open arms reaching out to the faithful. In the center of the square stands an ancient Egyptian obelisk, which dates back to 13 BC. The interior of St. Peter's Basilica is filled with artistic masterpieces, including Michelangelo's Pieta, a stunning marble sculpture depicting the Virgin Mary cradling the body of Jesus. The bronze baldachin by Bernini stands over the main altar, which is located directly above St. Peter's tomb. The main altar, known as the Papal Altar, is reserved for the Pope. Beneath it lies the Confessio, a space dedicated to St. Peter's memory, featuring a staircase that leads down to his traditional burial site. As the heart of the Roman Catholic Church and a key pilgrimage site, the basilica stands as a testament to centuries of Christian history, art, and devotion. Hagia Sophia, located in Istanbul, Turkey, stands as one of the most iconic buildings in the world. It has a complex and storied history, serving as a cathedral, mosque and museum over nearly 1,500 years. Hagia Sophia was originally built as a cathedral during the Byzantine Empire under Emperor Justinian I. It was the third church to be constructed on the same site, as the 2 previous churches were destroyed during riots and revolts. The current Hagia Sophia was commissioned after the Nika riots in 532, during which much of Constantinople was burned and looted. For nearly 1,000 years, Hagia Sophia remained the world's largest cathedral and an important center of Eastern Orthodox Christianity. It served as the seat of the Patriarch of Constantinople and was a place where Byzantine emperors were crowned. In 1453, the Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Mehmed II, captured Constantinople, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire. Hagia Sophia was then converted into a mosque, reflecting the shift in power and religion. In 1935, under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of modern Turkey, Hagia Sophia was secularized and converted into a museum. This move was part of a broader effort to modernize Turkey and establish a more secular identity. Hagia Sophia is a masterpiece of architectural innovation and design. It combines elements of a basilica layout with a central dome structure, creating a unique and influential architectural form. The most striking feature of Hagia Sophia is its massive central dome. The dome is supported by pendentives, triangular sections of vaulting that allow the circular dome to sit atop a square base. The interior features exquisite mosaics from both the Byzantine and Ottoman periods. The most famous mosaics include the image of Christ Pantocrator, the Virgin Mary holding the Christ child, and various depictions of emperors and empresses. Many of these mosaics were covered when the building was converted into a mosque, but have since been partially restored. In July 2020, Hagia Sophia was reconverted into a mosque by a decree from President Erdogan, following a court ruling that annulled its museum status. The decision sparked international debate, with some viewing it as a reclamation of the building's Ottoman heritage, while others saw it as a step away from the secular ideals established by Ataturk. We travel now to the heart of Paris, on the Ile de la Cité, where the majestic Notre Dame Cathedral stands as a testament to French Gothic architecture. The construction of Notre Dame de Paris took over 180 years to complete, with the main work done between 1163 and 1345. The cathedral was built in stages, and numerous architects contributed to its design, which is why it has a blend of early and later Gothic architectural styles. The west facade, with its famous twin towers, was completed in the mid-13th century, and the spire, which became a key feature, was added later in the 19th century. The cathedral's two towers, standing at 226 feet or 69 meters tall, are one of its most recognizable features. They were completed in the mid-13th century and offer stunning views of Paris. One of the most beloved features of Notre Dame is its collection of gargoyles and chimera. These stone creatures, some functional as waterspouts and others purely decorative, were added during the 19th century restoration. The gargoyles not only serve a practical purpose, but also add an air of mystery and charm to the cathedral's exterior. One of Notre Dame's most prized possessions is the crown of thorns, believed to have been worn by Jesus Christ during his crucifixion. On April 15, 2019, a massive fire broke out, devastating the roof and collapsing the spire. While the main structure, the twin towers and many relics were saved, significant portions of the cathedral were destroyed or severely damaged. The Burgos Cathedral, officially known as the Cathedral of St. Mary of Burgos, is one of the most remarkable and historically significant cathedrals in Spain. The construction of the cathedral begins in 1221 and was completed in 1567, although work on various chapels, towers and decorative features continued long after that. Burgos Cathedral is a prime example of high Gothic architecture, known for its verticality, elaborate decoration and use of light. Its design was heavily influenced by French Gothic cathedrals, but with distinct Spanish characteristics. The cathedral's soaring spires, pointed arches, ribbed vaults and large stained glass windows give it a sense of grandeur and lightness. The twin spires, which crown the west facade, are among the most striking features of the cathedral. Rising to 275 feet or 84 meters, these spires are adorned with openwork stone, giving them a delicate, lace-like appearance. They are a signature element of Burgos Cathedral and were completed in the 15th century. The Escalera Dorada, or Golden Staircase, is a Renaissance addition to the cathedral, designed in 1519. This ornate, golden-hued staircase, located in the north transept, is one of the most iconic interior features of Burgos Cathedral. Its elegant curves and decorative carvings reflect the transition from Gothic to Renaissance styles. Perhaps one of the most famous aspects of Burgos Cathedral is that it houses the tomb of the legendary Spanish military leader and folk hero Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, known as El Cid. El Cid was a central figure in the medieval Reconquista, the series of campaigns by Christian states to recapture territory from Muslim rule. Here, in the heart of northeast England, the River Wear carves its way through a landscape steeped in history, and rising majestically from a wooded peninsula overlooking this ancient river stands Durham Cathedral. Built in the late 11th and early 12th centuries, Durham Cathedral is celebrated as one of the greatest examples of Norman architecture, characterized by its massive fortress-like design. The cathedral was revolutionary in its use of the ribbed vault, a crucial architectural innovation that allowed the builders to construct higher and wider ceilings. The central tower of Durham Cathedral, standing at 216 feet or 66 meters tall, is a defining feature of the building's skyline. Visitors can climb the 325 steps to the top of the tower for breathtaking views of the surrounding city and countryside. One of the most striking features of the cathedral's east end is the large rose window, which was added in the 14th century. This Gothic addition contrasts with the otherwise Norman style of the building and fills the choir with colourful light. The iconic central nave of the cathedral is lined with alternating circular and octagonal pillars that support the impressive ribbed vault. Durham Cathedral's cloisters, located on the southern side of the cathedral, were constructed in the late 12th century. These enclosed walkways served as a central part of the monastic complex and are notable for their beautiful stone vaulting. The cloisters were famously used as a filming location for several scenes in the Harry Potter films, adding a touch of cinematic magic to the site. From the ancient stone of England, we journey now to the vibrant shores of Brazil, to a city where breathtaking natural beauty meets architectural daring. Rio de Janeiro, a city celebrated for its iconic beaches, its infectious energy, and a landmark that stands as a testament to modern design, the Rio de Janeiro Cathedral. The cathedral was built between 1964 and 1979. Its unique shape, resembling a massive truncated cone, reaches a height of 246 feet or 75 meters, and the structure can hold up to 20,000 standing people. This makes Rio de Janeiro Cathedral one of the largest religious structures in Latin America. The most striking feature of Rio de Janeiro Cathedral is its towering conical shape, which is both symbolic and functional. The design was influenced by the pyramids of ancient Mesoamerica, particularly the structures of the Maya civilization, representing a connection to both the earth and the divine. The cathedral's exterior is constructed from reinforced concrete, giving it a stark industrial appearance. Its conical structure has a diameter of 348 feet or 106 meters at the base, tapering upward to a small circular opening at the top known as the oculus. This oculus allows natural light to flood into the building, creating a heavenly atmosphere within the massive interior. Inside the cathedral, 4 massive stained glass windows dominate the walls, each rising 210 feet or 64 meters from floor to ceiling. These windows, designed in vibrant blues, greens, yellows and reds, depict various religious themes and symbols. They represent the 4 marks of the Church: 1, holy, Catholic and apostolic, and they cast an ethereal light over the cathedral's interior, creating a breathtaking spiritual experience. Rio de Janeiro Cathedral is an architectural and spiritual landmark that stands out for its bold modernism, immense scale and deep religious significance. We are heading now to Bavaria, to a city steeped in history and tradition, Munich. Here, amidst the bustling squares and grand avenues, stands the Frauenkirche, a symbol of Munich's enduring spirit. Built between 1468 and 1488, Frauenkirche stands out for its massive, almost austere exterior. The cathedral is 358 feet or 109 meters long and 131 feet or 40 meters wide, with 2 325 feet or 99 meters tall towers, making it one of the largest brick churches in the world. One of the most striking features of the Frauenkirche is its twin towers, which dominate Munich's skyline. Interestingly, the towers were originally designed to have spires, typical of Gothic architecture, but due to a shortage of funds, the towers were capped with simple domes instead. These onion domes were added in 1525 and are reminiscent of Renaissance architecture, giving the cathedral its distinctive and unusual silhouette. The interior is more characteristic of the Gothic style, with high vaulted ceilings and pointed arches that draw the eyes upward. The nave is divided into 3 aisles by tall, slim columns, creating a spacious yet intimate atmosphere. One of the most famous legends of the Frauenkirche is the Devil's Footprint, a mysterious mark near the entrance. According to legend, the architect made a deal with the devil to fund the cathedral, agreeing it would have no windows. When the devil visited, he was deceived by the pillars that concealed the windows from view. Furious at being tricked, he stomped his foot, leaving the footprint in the stone floor. Like much of Munich, the Frauenkirche was severely damaged during World War II. Allied bombing raids in 1944 destroyed much of the cathedral's roof and interior, though the twin towers miraculously remained standing. Here, rising from the flat expanse of the Cambridgeshire Fens, stands Ely Cathedral. Construction of the current cathedral began in 1083. The building was initially designed in the Romanesque style, characterized by massive walls, rounded arches, and thick columns. Its location on an island in the Fenlands, surrounded by water and marshes, made it both a strategic stronghold and a sacred site. In 1109, the monastery church officially became a cathedral when the Diocese of Ely was created. It was now not only a monastic centre, but also the seat of a bishop, and the cathedral began to grow in importance and size. One of the Ely's most remarkable features is its octagon tower, which was added in the early 14th century. This magnificent tower is an 8-sided lantern made of wood and stone that soars 75 feet or 23 meters above the roof of the cathedral, with intricate fan-vaulted ceilings and windows that allow light to flood into the building. The nave of Ely Cathedral is one of the longest in England, stretching 250 feet or 76 meters and lined with massive Norman pillars. The high vaulted ceilings and pointed arches are typical of Gothic cathedrals, but the overall effect is Romanesque, reflecting the building's Norman origins. Housed within Ely Cathedral is the Stained Glass Museum, one of the only museums of its kind in the UK. It showcases an impressive collection of stained glass windows from medieval to modern times, offering insight into the artistry and craftsmanship involved in this intricate form of decoration. Known as the Ship of the Fens, due to its prominent silhouette rising above the flat fenland landscape, the cathedral has stood for over 900 years as a beacon of faith and craftsmanship. Perched atop one of Tuscany's rolling hills, the city of Siena basks in the warm Italian sun. And there at the city's heart stands the Duomo di Siena, a vision in white, green and red marble, a testament to the artistic brilliance of the Italian Gothic style. The construction of the current cathedral began around 1226 and took decades, with work continuing well into the 14th century. The facade of Siena Cathedral is a masterpiece of Gothic design. It is adorned with numerous sculptures, both biblical figures and allegorical representations, as well as intricate patterns and geometric designs. The lower part of the facade features Romanesque elements, while the upper part includes Gothic spires and rose windows. The use of gilding and mosaic work adds a further layer of grandeur to the facade. The interior of the cathedral is just as spectacular as its exterior. The black and white striped marble columns, a reference to Siena's civic coat of arms, give the space a striking visual rhythm. The ceiling of the nave is painted with golden stars set against a deep blue background, creating a celestial effect. One of the highlights of the interior is the pavimento, the cathedral's marble mosaic floor. This extraordinary work of art took over 200 years to complete, from the 14th to the 16th century, and features 56 intricate panels that depict scenes from the Old Testament, allegories, and historical subjects. The mosaics, made of marble inlay in various colours, are considered one of the greatest floor decorations in the world. One of the cathedral's greatest treasures is the pulpit, created by the renowned sculptor Nicola Pisano between 1265 and 1268. This octagonal masterpiece is supported by columns resting on the backs of lions, and each panel is adorned with intricately carved biblical scenes, including the Nativity, the Crucifixion, and the Last Judgment. The dome of Siena Cathedral, completed in the 15th century, is another remarkable feature. It rises high above the central crossing of the church and is decorated with golden stars against a deep blue background, echoing the design of the nave's ceiling. Legend has it that the city of Puebla, located in Mexico, was built by angels, and rising above its colonial streets, a testament to faith and architectural grandeur, stands the Puebla Cathedral. The construction of Puebla Cathedral began in 1575 during the Spanish colonial period under the reign of King Philip II of Spain. It was fully completed in 1690, becoming one of the largest and most impressive in Mexico. The cathedral is an excellent example of Baroque architecture, but it also incorporates elements of Renaissance and neoclassical styles. The facade, made of dark grey stone, contrasts with the ornate decoration typical of the Baroque era. The twin towers, completed in 1678, rise 240 feet or 73 meters high, making them the tallest cathedral towers in Mexico at the time of their construction. The interior of the cathedral is just as impressive as its exterior. The nave is vast, with a series of large, intricately carved altars lining the sides. The high vaulted ceilings and towering columns create a sense of grandeur, while the use of local materials such as onyx and marble gives the space a uniquely Mexican touch. One of the highlights of the interior is the Altar of the Kings, a magnificent Baroque masterpiece created by the sculptor Francisco Gudino. The altar is dedicated to the Virgin Mary and features gilded wood, detailed sculptures and beautiful paintings. Puebla Cathedral's dome is another architectural highlight. The interior of the dome is adorned with religious frescoes, including representations of the four evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The dome's design reflects a mix of Renaissance balance and Baroque drama, with light streaming in through the windows to illuminate the colourful artwork. Here in the southwest of France, in the Tarn region, lies a structure unlike any other. Albi Cathedral, officially known as Cathédrale Sainte-Cécile d'Albi, is a stunning Gothic cathedral dedicated to Saint Cecilia, the patron saint of musicians. It is the largest brick cathedral in the world and is renowned for its fortress-like exterior and lavishly decorated interior. Construction of the cathedral continued for almost 200 years, between 1282 and 1480. Albi Cathedral's exterior is unique among Gothic cathedrals. It was built entirely from red brick, giving it a distinctive appearance unlike the stone cathedrals of northern France. The use of brick, combined with its massive solid walls, gives the cathedral the look of a fortress rather than a traditional church. The portal of St. Cecilia, a large porch added in the 16th century, is another striking feature of the exterior. This Gothic-style entrance is intricately decorated with carvings and sculptures and stands in contrast to the otherwise austere facade. The interior of the cathedral is a complete contrast to the exterior, boasting one of the most ornate and beautifully decorated spaces in France. In the 15th and 16th centuries, the cathedral's interior underwent a Renaissance transformation, and many of its most famous elements were added during this period. The choir screen, an exquisitely carved stone barrier separating the nave from the choir, is another masterpiece of Gothic art. It features detailed sculptures of angels, saints, and biblical scenes, making it one of the most elaborate choir screens in France. The cathedral's vaulted ceiling is painted in the early 16th century. The ceiling is covered in colourful frescoes that depict scenes from the Bible, angels, and decorative patterns. Albi Cathedral is also home to a magnificent pipe organ, built in 1736 by Christophe Moucherel. The organ case is a stunning work of art in itself, richly decorated with carvings and statues. The organ remains one of the most celebrated in France, and it continues to be used for concerts and religious services. Seville Cathedral, officially known as the Cathédrale de Santa Maria de la Sede, is one of the most iconic landmarks of Seville, Spain, and the largest Gothic cathedral in the world. This monumental structure was built on the site of a former mosque and is a symbol of the wealth and power that Seville accumulated during Spain's Golden Age. The construction of Seville Cathedral began in 1401, with the ambitious aim of building the largest and most magnificent cathedral in the world. This grand vision materialized over the next century as construction continued until 1506, though some elements were added in later years. The design of the cathedral followed the Gothic architectural style, characterized by soaring vertical lines, intricate stonework, and vast interior spaces. Over the centuries, Seville Cathedral underwent various modifications, incorporating elements of the Renaissance, Baroque, and neoclassical styles. The Giralda, the cathedral's bell tower, stands at 341 feet or 104 meters tall and was for centuries the tallest tower in Spain. The tower's unique design combines Islamic and Christian architectural elements. The lower sections retain their original Almohad features, including horseshoe arches and geometric patterns, while the upper part was added in the Renaissance period, topped with a weather vane known as El Giraldillo, symbolizing faith. The interior of Seville Cathedral is nothing short of awe-inspiring. It is the largest cathedral in the world by volume, with a nave that reaches 138 feet or 42 meters in height. The retablo mayor, or main altarpiece, is one of the crowning glories of the cathedral. Considered one of the largest and most intricate altarpieces in the world, it was created by Flemish and Spanish artisans over the course of nearly 100 years. One of the most notable additions is the Christopher Columbus tomb, a grand monument located inside the cathedral. Although Columbus was originally buried in Valladolid, his remains were moved multiple times before being brought to Seville in 1898, where they now rest in the cathedral. We travel now to France, in the ancient city of Chartres. Here, rising above the rolling countryside, stands a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, a testament to the spiritual aspirations of medieval Europe. The history of Chartres Cathedral dates back to the early Christian era, but the structure we see today was primarily built in the 12th and 13th centuries. The cathedral is renowned for its architectural innovations that helped define the Gothic style. One of the most striking features is its extensive use of flying buttresses, which allowed for higher walls and larger windows. The cathedral's facade is adorned with 3 grand portals, each filled with intricate sculptures depicting biblical scenes. The western facade, also known as the Royal Portal, is particularly famous for its detailed carvings of Old Testament kings and queens, which serve as a reminder of the connection between the church and the monarchy. Inside, the cathedral is equally impressive. The high vaulted ceilings, supported by elegant columns, create a sense of awe and reverence. One of the most remarkable aspects of Chartres Cathedral is its collection of stained glass windows. There are over 170 windows, making it one of the largest and best preserved collections of medieval stained glass in the world. We are going back across the Atlantic to the bustling metropolis of New York City. Here, amidst the towering skyscrapers and relentless energy of Manhattan, stands a different kind of cathedral, a testament to the enduring appeal of Gothic architecture in the modern age. The history of St. Patrick's Cathedral is closely tied to the growth of New York City and its Catholic population. Construction of the cathedral began in 1858 and was officially opened and dedicated on May 25, 1879. St. Patrick's Cathedral is a masterpiece of Gothic Revival architecture, characterized by its pointed arches, ribbed vaults and flying buttresses. The cathedral's exterior is constructed from white marble, giving it a striking appearance against the backdrop of Manhattan's modern skyscrapers. The twin spires, which rise to a height of 330 feet or 100 meters, are among the cathedral's most distinctive features. These spires, completed in 1888, were the tallest structures in New York City at the time. Inside, the cathedral's grandeur continues. The nave is flanked by 14 side chapels, each dedicated to different saints or events in the life of Christ. The vaulted ceiling, supported by slender columns, creates a sense of height and space, while the large stained glass windows fill the interior with colored light, adding to the spiritual atmosphere. Whether admired for its Gothic revival splendour or revered as a sacred space, St. Patrick's Cathedral remains a beloved and enduring icon of New York City. From the heart of Tuscany, a monument to human ingenuity pierces the sky. This is the Cathedral di Santa Maria del Fiore, more affectionately known as the Duomo, a beacon of the Italian Renaissance. Unlike the soaring heights of the Gothic cathedrals of France, the Duomo embraces a sense of classical harmony, a return to the architectural ideals of ancient Rome. The construction of the cathedral began on September 8, 1296, and continued 140 years until it was finished in 1436. The cathedral's exterior is clad in polychrome marble in shades of green, pink and white, creating a striking visual effect that has become one of Florence's most recognizable features. The most iconic feature of the cathedral is, of course, the dome. Measuring 150 feet or 45.5 meters in diameter, and 375 feet or 114.5 meters in height, the dome was the largest in the world at the time of its completion and remains the largest brick dome ever constructed. Inside, the cathedral is equally impressive. The interior, though relatively austere compared to the exterior, is vast and awe-inspiring, with a floor plan that resembles a Latin cross. The most notable feature inside the dome is the fresco of the Last Judgment. This enormous work of art covers the entire interior of the dome and depicts scenes of heaven and hell, with vivid detail and dramatic intensity. The Catedral di Santa Maria del Fiore is more than just a magnificent building. It is a symbol of Florence's artistic and architectural achievements during the Renaissance. Nestled in the historic city of Canterbury, England, stands a monument of grandeur and devotion, Canterbury Cathedral. The origins of Canterbury Cathedral date back to 597, and it is the first cathedral in England. The original cathedral was rebuilt and expanded several times over the centuries. The cathedral is an architectural masterpiece that reflects the evolution of Gothic architecture in England. The building is a mix of Romanesque and Gothic styles, with each phase of construction adding new elements to its design. The western end of the cathedral, including the nave and the west towers, is primarily Romanesque in style, with its rounded arches and massive stone walls. The central tower, known as the Bell Harry Tower, was completed in the late 15th century and is a fine example of perpendicular Gothic architecture, characterized by its vertical lines and intricate stonework. The eastern end of the cathedral, including the choir, the Trinity Chapel and the Corona Chapel, is where the Gothic style is most evident. One of the most remarkable features of Canterbury Cathedral is its collection of medieval stained glass windows. These windows, some of which date back to the 12th century, are among the finest examples of medieval glasswork in Europe. From its ancient origins to its role as the centre of Anglicanism, the cathedral has been at the heart of English history for nearly 1,500 years. Reims Cathedral, known as Notre Dame de Reims, is one of the most important Gothic cathedrals in France and a symbol of the nation's history. The cathedral was consecrated in 1275, although construction continued for several more decades. It was the site of the coronation of nearly every French king from the 13th century until the French Revolution. The most famous coronation was that of Charles VII in 1429, which was attended by Joan of Arc, who had played a key role in his ascension to the throne. Reims Cathedral is a masterpiece of high Gothic architecture, characterized by its verticality, lightness, and the intricate detailing of its facades. The west facade, in particular, is renowned for its elaborate sculptures and is considered one of the greatest achievements of Gothic art. The smiling angel statue on the west facade is one of the most famous sculptures in Gothic art. The statue's serene and joyful expression has captivated visitors for centuries, and it became a symbol of hope during the difficult years of World War I. The interior of the cathedral is equally impressive, with soaring vaults and a vast nave that draws the eye upward to the heavens. The cathedral's height is accentuated by its slender columns and pointed arches, which create a sense of lightness and grace. The choir, where the coronation ceremonies took place, is surrounded by magnificent stained glass windows that flood the space with colour. Reims Cathedral is not just a building, it is a monument to the history, culture and spiritual life of France. St. Stephen's Cathedral is located in the very centre of Vienna, and all distances in the city are measured from its front door. It's often referred to as the soul of the city, due to its central role in Vienna's history and culture. The origins of the cathedral date back to the 12th century, when Vienna was a modest medieval town. St. Stephen's Cathedral is a stunning example of Gothic architecture, characterized by its soaring spires, intricate stone carvings and expansive interior. The cathedral's design reflects the architectural evolution from Romanesque to Gothic, with elements from both styles visible in different parts of the building. The most striking feature of the cathedral is its south tower, which dominates the Vienna skyline. Completed in 1433, it reaches a height of 446 feet or 136 meters, and was the tallest building in Vienna for many centuries. Inside the cathedral, the Gothic influence is evident in the ribbed vaults, pointed arches and tall stained glass windows that fill the space with coloured light. The high altar, completed in 1647 in the Baroque style, is another highlight of the cathedral's interior. It features a dramatic depiction of the stoning of St. Stephen, surrounded by marble statues and gilded details. The great composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart had a close connection to St. Stephen's. He was married in the cathedral, 2 of his children were baptized there, and his funeral took place within its walls. The Duomo di Milano, or Milan Cathedral, is one of the most magnificent and iconic churches in the world. As the 5th largest in the world, the Duomo stands as a testament to Milan's artistic, cultural and religious significance. The Duomo took nearly 6 centuries to complete, with construction beginning in 1386 and officially ending in 1965. It is a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, characterized by its pointed arches, ribbed vaults, flying buttresses, and an extraordinary number of spires and statues. The cathedral is often described as a forest of spires, with over 135 spires adorning its roof. Each spire is topped with a statue, and together they create a breathtaking silhouette against the Milanese sky. The interior of the Duomo is equally awe-inspiring. The vast nave, lined with 52 massive pillars representing the weeks of the year, can accommodate up to 40,000 worshippers. The high altar, situated beneath a magnificent baldachin, is a focal point of the interior, and behind it is the choir, with intricately carved wooden stalls that date back to the 16th century. The rooftop is adorned with hundreds of statues, including the cathedral's most famous statue, the Madonnina. This gilded bronze statue of the Virgin Mary, standing atop the highest spire at 354 feet or 108 meters, has become a symbol of Milan. The Duomo has played host to several significant historical events, including the coronation of Napoleon Bonaparte as King of Italy in 1805. To commemorate this event, Napoleon ordered the completion of the cathedral's facade. As one of the tallest cathedrals in the world and the most visited landmark in Germany, Cologne Cathedral stands as a testament to Gothic architecture and the rich history of the region. The construction of Cologne Cathedral took over 600 years, with work beginning in 1248 and finally being completed in 1880. Cologne Cathedral is a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, characterized by its soaring vertical lines, pointed arches, ribbed vaults and flying buttresses. One of the most striking aspects of the cathedral is its facade, dominated by the twin spires. These spires are not only architectural marvels but also engineering feats, given the challenges of building such tall structures in the 19th century. The facade is adorned with statues of saints, apostles and other religious figures, as well as intricate carvings and tracery that add to the overall sense of grandeur. The interior of Cologne Cathedral is equally impressive, with a vast nave that stretches 472 feet or 144 metres in length and 141 feet or 43 metres in height. The nave is supported by massive columns and features stunning stained glass windows that date from different periods, including medieval, 19th century and modern designs. One of the most important features of the cathedral's interior is the Shrine of the Three Kings, a gilded reliquary that is said to contain the remains of the three wise men. This elaborate shrine, created by the medieval goldsmith Nicholas of Verdun, is one of the largest reliquaries in the world and a masterpiece of medieval metalwork. Cologne Cathedral was heavily damaged during World War II, particularly during the bombing raids that devastated much of Cologne. However, despite being hit by 14 bombs, the cathedral miraculously remained standing. Located in Moscow's Red Square, St. Basil's Cathedral is one of the most recognizable and iconic landmarks in Russia and the world. The cathedral was built between 1555 and 1561 to commemorate Ivan the Terrible's victory over the Kazan Khanate, marking the expansion of the Russian state and the spread of Orthodox Christianity. St. Basil's Cathedral is a striking example of Russian architecture, blending elements of Byzantine, Russian Orthodox, and even Asian influences into a unique and harmonious structure. The cathedral is most famous for its 9 brightly coloured onion-shaped domes, each crowned with a gilded cross. These domes are arranged around a central nave and symbolize the flames of a bonfire rising toward the sky. Inside the cathedral, visitors will find a maze of narrow corridors, steep staircases, and small chapels, each adorned with frescoes, icons, and intricate woodwork. One of the most interesting aspects of the cathedral's design is its asymmetry. Unlike many other churches and cathedrals, St. Basil's does not have a single unified facade. Instead, each side of the cathedral presents a different view, with unique domes and decorations. Today, St. Basil's Cathedral functions primarily as a museum. It was secularized in 1929 following the Bolshevik Revolution and now belongs to the state. However, it still hosts occasional religious services, especially on the feast day of the Intercession. La Sagrada Familia is one of the most extraordinary buildings in the world, architectural masterpiece and a symbol of Barcelona. The construction of this massive basilica, designed by the visionary architect Antoni Gaudi, began in 1882 and is still continuous to this day. La Sagrada Familia is a marvel of architecture and engineering, blending Gothic and Art Nouveau forms with Gaudi's visionary style. The basilica's design is characterized by its use of hyperboloids, paraboloids, and other complex geometric shapes, which are not only aesthetically striking but also structurally efficient. The Nativity facade, the first to be completed, is the most directly influenced by Gaudi and reflects his love for natural forms and religious symbolism. It is adorned with intricate carvings of animals, plants, and scenes from the birth and early life of Christ. In contrast, the Passion facade, which was completed much later, presents a stark and dramatic depiction of the suffering and death of Christ. Its angular, stripped-down style was intended to convey the harshness of Christ's sacrifice. Inside the basilica, Gaudi's vision continues to unfold. The nave is supported by a forest of columns that branch out like trees, creating a canopy of stone that mimics a natural forest. The play of light inside the basilica is another remarkable feature, with stained glass windows bathing the interior in a kaleidoscope of colours. La Sagrada Familia is famously unfinished, even after more than 140 years of construction. The basilica is expected to be completed by 2026, coinciding with the centenary of Gaudi's death, although delays may push this date further.